Hey, what's up? Good evening, everyone. Today is Saturday, October 11th, 2025. My name is Bradford Best, and this is my week 6 video for Be the Best DFS. I'm going to talk about tomorrow's week 6 NFL slate, just kind of discuss my top plays and strategies for the slate. Quick recap on week 5. Um, there was some encouragement on DK. I posted it in the Facebook group. I played 3 entries. One of my lineups got a 188.02 on FanDuel. I just did a single entry. I didn't cash anything, but my lineup had like 130 or 131 points. Last week, I did my live video on Facebook, but I decided to come back to StreamYard this week because I think I can see the comments better on StreamYard. This week we have a 10-game slate. There are like maybe 3 to 4 games that I really want to focus on in terms of my plays. But I'm gonna go over every game. I'm primarily going to discuss, my strategy for DK. But I'm gonna be playing FanDuel as well. So if you have any questions about either site, just be sure to post the comments down below. So let's get started talking about this slate. The first game on the slate for tomorrow is the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game has the lowest over-under total on the slate at 38.5 points, with the Pittsburgh Steelers being favored by 5.5 points. With that low total, you got Dylan Gabriel. He's going to be the starter. There's not really much I like in this game. I kind of took a quick look at DK Metcalf maybe as a one-off, but this is just. I don't think this is the game to target. I consider the tight end, the rookie tight end, Harold Fanning. I think that's his name. I consider him, but he's splitting snaps with what's the tight end for Cleveland name? Slipping my mind. Let's see, Cleveland. Njoku. So, all in all, this is the game that I'm probably going to fade. And, I'm thinking I'm going to play one lineup on each site this week, because I got to work tomorrow. So I'm just going to focus on one lineup. But, yeah, this first game, it's a fade for me, low total. I don't think there's anybody that you really, really need. Game number 2, Los Angeles Chargers at the Miami Dolphins. 43.5 over-under total, with the Chargers being favored by 3.5 points. Key injury in this game, Amari Hampton, he's been placed on injured reserve. So it's going to be between Haskins and Vidal. They're both priced at $5,000. One of those two running backs should get the start. I did take some notes. Miami Dolphins, they're actually the dead last in defending the run. They're giving up 174.2 yards per game on the ground. A lot of that can be attributed to all the yards they gave up to Carolina on last week. Rico Dowdle, he had like a 200-yard game in week 5. So there is a possibility that one of these Chargers running backs, Haskins or Vidal, could have a good game. But to me, I think it's just too hard to figure out. So, I understand playing either one of those guys, but I think I'm stay away from it in my single entry. But my advice would be keep it in consideration, because again, Miami is dead last versus defending the run. And both of those running backs, they're at value prices at $5,000. But on the slate overall, there's just a lot of running backs to choose from this week. So in one lineup, I don't think I'm gonna get there. Um, on the Miami side, we saw that Jalen Waddle had a strong game last week, over 100 yards receiving. I think about 5 receptions. He had a really good game. But the Chargers, I believe they are a respectable defense. I don't really have any plays that I'm necessarily targeting in this game, but I do have interest in Miami's defense on DK. They're 2,200. I think just them as a value play is something that I have interest in. I know their defense isn't that good, but I just like the price. But in terms of just players, I think you just need to make a decision on those one of those Chargers running backs and listen out for any reports or tweets. The tweet that I saw was that both running backs will be involved in the game. So I don't know what to take from that. Game number 3, the New England Patriots at the New Orleans Saints. This game has an over-under total of 45.5 points, with the New England Patriots being favored by 3.5. Decent total. The Patriots, they're coming off a Sunday night win on beating the Buffalo Bills, and that was in Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. Stephon Diggs had a very good game, so I think the Patriots, maybe Drake made 5,900. Let me see what's the price point on their receivers. Diggs 5,800. They could be in play. I'm not really on them, but it's an indoor environment, so offense could go off in this game. The one play that I was kind of looking at in this game was Rashid Shaheed of 4,600 on DK. He's a speed guy, but we saw last week the type of potential that he has. I think he was in a lot of tournament winning lineups. He had 24.4 DK points, 114 yards receiving, and a touchdown. Granted, 87 of those yards came off of one deep play. So Shaheed, he's a boom or bust play, but he's their deep threat. He's someone that I looked at. But all in all, this is not a game that I'm really focusing on. As we go through the slate, like I said at the beginning of this video, there's going to be like 3 or 4 games that I have a strong focus on. Next game on the slate, Seattle Seahawks, Jacksonville Jaguars, 47.5 over under total. Seahawks favored by 1.5. The one player in this game that I think is in play almost every slate is going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba, 7,600. He's had a floor this season through 5 weeks of 13 DK points, a ceiling of 30.2. Last week, 8 catches, 132 yards and a touchdown. The clear number 1 receiver for Seattle. He's 7,600. I think he's the main player that's in play for this game. I know Sam Darnold had a strong game last week, and he was in a couple of tournament winning lineups that I was looking at when I was looking at the top of the standings in the contest that I was in. But just relative to this slate, I think I'm just narrowing it down to JSN. I don't really want anybody on the Jaguars side. I know they beat the Chiefs. I watched that Monday night game. It seemed kind of fluky. Like they did beat the Chiefs, but like I said, they got that pick six that helped them out. And Trevor Lawrence, he really didn't look that good. They found a way to win, but I didn't see anything that impressed me. So in this game, only Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's the only play I have interest in. This game, the next game on the slate, I have a little more interest in. The Arizona Cardinals at the Indianapolis Colts, 47.5 over under total. Indianapolis favored by 7.5 points. I think we gotten to the point of the season where Jonathan Taylor is probably a strong play on every slate. And, it goes again this week. Taylor on the season, he's had a minimum of 17 carries in every single game. So he's always going to get 20 touches. He's had a minimum of 20 touches, combination of rush attempts and receptions in every single game this season. The Colts are home favorites, and we've seen the type of tournament upside that he's capable of. He's gone over 30 DK points in 3 out of the 5 games this season. He scored 3 rushing touchdowns in week 5, and he easily could have had a 4th one, but when they got the ball down to the goal line, they let the backup running back get one of the touchdowns. I think it was Amir Abdullah, if I'm not mistaken. But Taylor, he's the highest priced running back on the slate, on both slates, 8,500 on DK. I think he's like 10,200 on FanDuel. But just the matchup and the game script, I feel that Taylor is definitely a strong play. Slight interest in Alec Pierce, mainly because of the price point, 44 or 4,500. I think that's a good price for him. On the other side, Kyler Murray, he's questionable. So if Kyler Murray plays, I do have interest in Marvin Harrison Jr. Because I do feel that the Colts have a good opportunity to cover this spread, and if they're winning this game by like a touchdown or more, the Cardinals, they're going to be in a position where they have to throw the ball a lot. And if Kyler Murray out there, he's going to take those deep shots with Marvin Harrison. If y'all watch the game on week 5, like either the first or second drive, Marvin Harrison had like a 30 or 40-yard reception downfield, but he got tackled at the 1-yard line. So he had almost got a deep touchdown, but he got tackled at the 1, and then I think Kyler Murray ended up running in for a touchdown that drive. But I say all that to say I only have interest in Harrison Jr. if Kyler Murray plays. Because if it's Jacoby Brissett, he's more of a check down passer. He's not going to take those deep threats, and then I just don't like Arizona at all. In addition, I do like the Colts defense. Colts defense was one of the teams that I liked. I'm looking at this Georgia Bulldogs game. Damn. But yeah, the Colts defense was one of the team defenses that I liked last week, and they put up a very, very good fantasy score, and I like them again this week if you can afford them. So Jonathan Taylor, that's the main takeaway from this game that I like. Man, I got the TV on mute. I'm trying to see what this Auburn player going crazy about on the sideline. Whatever. All right. Next game on the slate: Los Angeles Rams, Baltimore Ravens, 44.5 over under total. Los Angeles Rams are 7-point favorites. No Lamar Jackson this week. Again, Cooper Rush is going to be starting for the Ravens. A couple things that I notated before getting on live. The Baltimore Ravens, they're 31st in total defense, giving up 408 yards per game. They're 31st in pass defense, giving up 262.6 passing yards per game. And they're 29th in run defense, giving up 146 yards, 146.4 yards per game. I say all that to say that their defense has been pretty poor this year. A lot of that, has to do with all of the injuries that they have. But they're pretty weak on defense, and for that reason, the Rams are strongly in play. At the top of the list, Puka Nacua, 8,700 on DK. I think he might be over 9,000 on FanDuel. I can't exactly remember the price, but Devontae Adams, he's in play. Kyron Williams in play, and Matthew Stafford is in play. Again, the main thing, Baltimore, they're bottom ranked in a lot of defensive categories. So the Rams are in a great position, to put up strong offensive numbers. The only thing that I will say is when you do decide to play Puka Nacua, you just got to make a decision point in terms of sacrificing possibly at other positions. Again, I plan on playing just one lineup tomorrow, I believe. So I don't know if I'm going to get to Puka, but I feel he's a great play. I just think there's some receivers under him that are strong plays, and I more so want to pay up for some running backs. So it's all about, which way you decide to, construct your lineup. I can see both ways happening, building around Puka or kind of building around running backs. If you try to build around both expensive running backs and Puka Nacua, you're going to have to take some very, very cheap value, maybe at tight end, team defense, and one of your wide receivers. So, it's a lot of decision points in this game, but I do think the Rams are strong plays. As of right now, I don't think I got to any Rams in my single entry though, but I do like them. Now this next game is this is the important game of the slate. Highest total on the slate as well. The Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers, 48.5 over-under total, with the Dallas Cowboys being favored by 3 points. Yeah, this is the game that's going to determine a lot, in my opinion. Let's start off with Carolina's side. Chuba Hubbard, he has been ruled out. A couple notes that I took down. Dallas in total defense, they're dead last, giving up 412 yards per game. And then they're dead last in pass defense, giving up over 284 passing yards per game. So if you checked out my video last week, I was on Facebook in the Facebook group. I strongly had endorsed Rico Dowdle, and he had an unbelievable game in Week 5. Let me go to his numbers real quick. Yeah, 23 carries for 206 yards and a touchdown. So with Chuba being out, I like Rico a lot this week too. His price has increased to 5,800, but there's a revenge narrative in place in this game too. He, Dowdle used to play for the Cowboys on last year, and they didn't bring him back. So I think he's going to be motivated. I'm not sure what Dowdle's ownership is going to be, but I think he's someone that's a strong play. So yeah, the price has increased, but versus the Cowboys, in a high total game, I like Rico Dowdle again this week. In addition to Dowdle, it's kind of hard for me to trust this guy, because he hasn't shown a lot of rushing upside this season. But Bryce Young, 4,800. That's the quarterback that I like this week right now. He's not one of the top quarterbacks in the league, but for DFS purposes, I like the price at 4,800. I think that's a value price, and I like the matchup. Like I mentioned, Dallas is dead last in total defense, and in pass defense. So I understand if anybody have hesitation or reservations about playing Bryce Young. I totally get it, but I just feel like in this spot at his price, he's a good play. So as of right now, Bryce Young is going to be the quarterback that I like the most for this Week 6 slate. And the guy that I like to stack him up with is going to be Tech McMillan, 6,000 on DK. Can't remember the price on FanDuel, but we got a 5-week sample size, and I'm trying to just go by the numbers. Dallas last in pass defense, last in pass defense. Tech McMillan, he's like the number one receiver for Carolina. He's at a mid-tier price, so that's definitely a strong stat that I'm liking this week. Bryce Young and Tech McMillan. I like Rico Dowdle, but I may pivot off of him. But Bryce Young and Tech McMillan for sure. I like both of those guys in this high total game. Another player that you can consider for Carolina is Xavier Legette, 3,900. Caught a touchdown last week. I think he was out on the field for at least 70% of the snaps. I believe he's pretty much like the number 2 wide receiver. So he's someone that you can consider, and also pay attention to the injury report for their tight ends. I think Jatavion Sanders is questionable or may have been ruled out. So Trimble could be a punt play on DK, possibly. He's less than 3,000. But the key things, Bryce Young, Tech McMillan, and Dowdle. I'm going to have to look again at Dowdle, because his price did increase. And there are a lot of strong running backs on the slate. So I'm going to take a second and look at that. Now, on the other side, for Dallas, I like Dak Prescott. I like Javonte Williams. I like George Pickens. And I like Ferguson, the tight end. I think all of those guys are strong plays. So basically, in this high total game, it's going to be some good fantasy plays in this game. The thing is just going to be, picking the right ones and placing them in your lineup, in the most optimal way possible. You know what I mean? So a lot of things I'm leaning towards the Carolina side because of their prices, but Dallas, they're great plays as well. Javonte Williams, he's still at a mid-tier price, like 6,400. George Pickens playing that role as wide receiver 1, he's 6,800. Ferguson, he's been like a target monster. And then Dak Prescott, he's been playing at an MVP level. Now the Cowboys, their prices are going to be a little higher than the Panthers, but again, both sides of this game are in play. So, my advice is if you build the lineups, you want to have a piece, at least one piece of this game in your lineups for sure. This next game on the slate, I like this one. I like a couple plays in this one too. Tennessee Titans at the Las Vegas Raiders, 41.5 over-under total, with the Las Vegas Raiders being favored by 4.5 points. I think this is a great spot for Ashton Jeanty. He's 8,000 on FanDuel. Let me see his price. I think he's 6,900 on DK. Go to him. Yeah, I love this spot for Ashton Jeanty. He's one of my top running backs on the slate this week. Couple notes. Arizona. Oh no, I don't have nothing versus their run defense. But Ashton Jeanty this season, he's been getting the usage. Last week, 19 touches out of the backfield. The week prior, 23 touches out of the backfield. The Raiders are home favorites. Tennessee Titans, they're not a really strong team. Ashton Jeanty, mid-tier price point. I like him a lot. I think this can be I think he have a game similar to what he had in week 4 versus the Bears. Week 4 versus the Bears, know what I'm saying? He had 21 carries for 138 yards. I just think that, the Raiders are going to be in a position, where they can just hand him the ball and he can do very well. Where were you at? Oh, what's up, Tony? Last week, I did my video in the Facebook group that I have. I went on Facebook Live in the Facebook group. I was just trying to see if I could reach more people. So if you're on Facebook, search Be the Best DFS, and you'll see the group. Just request an invite, and I'll accept you. I'll add you in the group. So that's where I was last week. But yeah, about the Raiders, Ashton Jeanty, I like him a lot this week. So the point that I wanted to make was last week, Tennessee, they were at Arizona. And if y'all remember, DeMarcado, it was all on the ESPN all this week. He broke like a 72-yard run, and then he fumbled the ball in the end zone or whatnot. But the point I'm trying to make is he broke a long run versus the Titans last week, and you combine that with however many yards Michael Carter had. Like Arizona, they got it done on the ground, and the Raiders they showing that if they're going to run the ball, they're going to do it with Jeanty. They're not really splitting the carries with a backup running back or anything like that. So in the DFS perspective, where everybody going to be on McCaffrey, of course, and Jonathan Taylor and Jacobs and Dowdle, it's so many running backs this week. But Jeanty, that's one that I think is going to have a big game. So yeah, I'm on Jeanty. There's no Brock Bowers neither. Brock Bowers is out, so that adds to his usage. With Brock Bowers being out, yeah, you can look at Jacoby Myers or Trey Tucker. They'll probably get more involved in the pass game. I wasn't looking so much at them. But another play from this game on the other side, I do like Calvin Ridley. Maybe he found something finally with Cam Ward, because Calvin Ridley, he had like a breakout game in week 5. and his price, a good price of $4,900 on DK. I think he like 5,700 on FanDuel. But last week, five catches for 131 yards. It's all about a game script. You know what I'm saying? Like if Tennessee are in a position where they're trailing or losing this game, and they're gonna pass the ball. They're gonna pass the ball, and Calvin Ridley, he wide receiver one. These games that are in indoor environments where you don't have to deal with the weather situation, and you playing on turf, that's where it's more speed. And I know firsthand that Calvin Ridley is one of the top route runners in the NFL. I know from his time with the Falcons. So, yeah, that little cross game stack of Genty and Calvin Ridley, I think that's something that could be a strong cross game stack in the lineup. So, yeah, I like the Raiders defense. I like the Raiders defense too. Cam Ward, he is still a rookie, so he's susceptible to potentially throwing interceptions. So yeah, that's about it. But again, my main takeaway is I like Genty, and I'm running one lineup on both sites, and I'm almost certain that I'm gonna have Genty on both FanDuel and DK. So yeah, that's my take on that. Two more games. This is an important game as well, very important. San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 47.5 over-under total, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers favored by 3.5 points. So there are some injuries in this game. On Tampa Bay, you have Mike Evans out, as well as Chris Godwin, and also Bucky Irvin. Three important players on their offense are out. So with the absence of those three guys, this is going to put Emeka Egbuka in a spot where he should get all the usage, all the targets. He's 7,200 last week. Very impressive game. 7 catches, 163 yards, and a touchdown. So, yeah, I like Ibuka. And, when I was talking about, plays earlier, when I was talking about Puka Nacua, yeah, you can play Puka. He could have a great game. But, hey, Ibuka, he's in a position to have a good game as well. And he's 1,500 cheaper on DK. So Emeka Egbuka, I think he got to be someone that you strongly could consider this week. Also, a play that I really like I'll say for DK more so, the tight end, K. Dotton. He's 3,400 on DK. I know he hasn't done much this year, but with Godwin being out and Evans being out, his opportunities in the passing game should increase. But the thing, like when I was doing my research, that really stood out to me about K. Dotton, and you guys can look this up yourself if you want. He's out there on the field all the time. Like his snap count percentages is like 85, 90%. So it's like he's always out there. And in a game with a high total and a close spread, if he get like 3 or 4 catches and fall into a touchdown, he pays off his salary. So just to give y'all a little background on what I do with research throughout the week, if you Google search NFL team snap counts, K. Dotton, tight end, Tampa Bay, K. Dotton, last name Otton. But if you Google search NFL team snap counts. Like one of the sites that pop up is the Football Guys or something like that. Football Guys. And you can filter through each team and look at the snap count percentage each week. So I go to that site a lot because a lot of times it's just about players being out there having the opportunity to do something. And if he's out there 90% of the time and you missing all those key players on offense, hey, Cade Otton at a cheap price, yeah, I like him. In addition, so with the injuries on Tampa Bay, you have Emeka Egbuka, and then wide receiver number 2 is going to be Sterling. Dang, what's his name? Sterling Shepard. He's 3,800 on DK. He should be wide receiver number 2. And then if you want to take a deep shot in like a large field, like a dart, you got Tez Johnson, 31 or 3,200. One of my friends pointed him out to me. I wasn't even aware of it. Shout out to Martin. But yeah, Tez Johnson, he's very, very cheap, and he's going to be playing that wide receiver 3 role, and that could be a value play. You know what I'm saying? Like for those of you on DK, if you really, really want to play Puka, somebody like Tez Johnson at 31, 3,200 could be a strong value play. Baker Mayfield, he's in play. So it's a lot to like about Tampa, a lot to like about Tampa. I think this Tampa Bay and San Francisco game is right up there with the Dallas and Carolina game. I think both of these 2 games are probably the best 2 games on the slate. No, his name is Cade Otton. Cade Otton. Like, go to tight end, and the last name it just start with an O. It start with an O. Otton. Thanks for watching, Stefan. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for checking me out. So I talked about the I'll type it. I think I can type it in here for you. Let's see. See if I can type it in. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's there you go. Now I talked about the Tampa Bay side, but San Francisco. Now, any of y'all that play DK, y'all already know when Christian McCaffrey, CMC, is on the slate, almost every week, he gonna be chalk on DK, because it's a full PPR site. And then they got those bonuses for 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing. So Christian McCaffrey, 8,400, I think is a very, very strong elite play. For DK, full transparency, I'm gonna play McCaffrey on DK, but I don't think I'm gonna play him on FanDuel at 9,500. I think just the type of player he is, it just fits more for DK. McCaffrey this season, he's had at least 6 catches in every game. 6 catches in every game this season. So that the 6 catches, that's 6 points in itself right there. So we all know what McCaffrey can do. My single entry lineup that I'm gonna play on DK tomorrow, I'm gonna play it in the tournament, and I'm gonna play it in a cash game, a double up as well. And I just feel like it, with me going that route, McCaffrey just someone that I can't fade on DK. Now, Jonathan Taylor at 8,500, they right at the same price. Both great plays, but for DK specifically, you gotta play McCaffrey in my opinion. So CMC, I'm all on board on him. Ricky Pearsall, he's been ruled out. We already know George Kittle is out. So I think Juwan Jennings, he's been practicing, so he should play this week. So Kendrick Bourne, we know he had a great game last Thursday, week 5, but we can't expect that same type of thing from him if if Juwan Jennings returns tomorrow. However, if somehow Juwan Jennings get ruled out, then you want to play Kendrick Bourne. I think Kendrick Bourne, let me see, San Francisco, I think he 5,000. Let me go to it. And this for DK. Again, I'm focusing more so on DK, but if you got a FanDuel question, shoot your FanDuel question. Yeah, Kendrick Bourne is $5,000. He went off in week 5, 10 catches, 142 yards. So he has the capability to do that. But that Thursday night, it was no Pearsall, it was no Juwan Jennings. So Pearsall is still out, but we have to pay attention to the Juwan Jennings updates. If Juwan Jennings is out, then Kendrick Bourne is a strong play again this week. If Juwan Jennings is in, then he's just a fair play. If you get what I'm saying. But yeah, for DK, I really like the ideal of using McCaffrey and K.I.N. and at least those two in the same lineup. If this game stay close and it's going back and forth, it's in the late window. If I have like pieces from this game, Abuka, Christian McCaffrey, K.I.N., if they all in the same lineup, they can all produce a lot of points for me. So I definitely say pay attention to that game right there. You said, hey, any target from the Dallas game. Yeah, I had talked about that game earlier. The main thing with Dallas in that game, I like the Carolina side. Bryce Young and Tech McMillan. Bryce Young more so for his price point. He's 4,800 on DK. I'm actually playing Bryce Young on FanDuel as well. But just the matchup, I was just saying that Dallas, they're dead last versus the pass. They give up 284.6 passing yards per game, and they're dead last in total defense. Now Bryce Young, he's not a great quarterback, but in this matchup, he was the number 1 pick. He need to do something. So yeah, Bryce Young, Tech McMillan, and I like Dowdle, but I'm gonna have to do a little more digging. But the thing with Dowdle, revenge game. He used to play for Dallas last year. I was watching ESPN. He seemed kind of upset that they didn't even try to re-sign him. They just let him go. So we know Dowdle, he'll have the motivation to do well, and it's a high total game. So the price is up. He's not valued like last week, but he's still going to be the guy that gets all the carries. Thank you for the question. So yeah, I just finished that San Francisco and Tampa Bay game. The last game on the slate, Cincinnati Bengals at the Green Bay Packers. 44.5 over under total and a massive spread of 14.5. Green Bay Packers favored by 14.5 points. So Joe Flacco's the starter for Cincinnati. Jamar Chase, he was dealing with an illness, but he's expected to play. I can't remember. It's Green Bay. They coming off the last game they had. It ended in a tie 2 weeks ago. Cincinnati, they're a fave for me. I know Joe Flacco cheap or whatnot. I know Jamar Chase is one of the top receivers in the league. But Green Bay, they're at home. They have one of the best defensive players in the league in Michael Parsons. Their defensive unit overall is pretty good. So, yeah, Cincinnati in a single entry cash game type setting, which is what I'm playing on tomorrow, I'm fading Cincinnati. Now, Green Bay, the one play that I have interest in is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs he's in a great spot. Let me see something. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, he's 7,300 on DK, and he's I think 8,700 on FanDuel. So it's the usage with Jacobs. Week 4, 22 rushes, um, 4 catches. So week 4, 26 touches out the backfield. Week 3, what's that? 21 touches out the backfield. Week 2, 23 touches out the backfield. Week 1, 20 touches out the backfield. I say all that to say Josh Jacob, he should get his touches. He should get 20 touches or whatnot. The only thing that I'm concerned with, this large spread, they like 2 touchdown favorites. Maybe Green Bay pulled their starters out in the fourth quarter. I mean, I know you can't predict the blowout, but it's possible. And it's tough for me because I'm only doing one lineup. So that's what makes it tough. If I was doing the 3 lineups or more, Josh Jacobs would be a absolute lock. But I do like Josh Jacobs a lot because they're at home, they're favorites, they're coming off the bye, and you should expect at least 20 touches from him, and he's just in a great spot. So sorry, go back to this real quick. Oh, and his price. I was thinking about what I want to say. His price, he's 7,300, and he in a great spot compared to 8,400 for McCaffrey, compared to 8,500 for Taylor, compared to 8,700 for Puka Nacua. Like, great price, great matchup. The only concern is, do the game get blown out so much where he loses snaps towards the end. That's just something you have to think about. But all in all, I like him. On the Green Bay, I mean, as far as their passing game, I'm not really into Jordan Love this week. I do like Romeo Dobbs, I think that's his first name, as possibly a one-off. With the injury to Jalen Reed, I think Dobbs is like their number one receiver. Christian Watson is still out. We saw 2 weeks ago Dobbs had like 3 touchdown catches versus the Dallas Cowboys. Cincinnati is 29th overall in pass defense. So I can get behind little Romeo Dobbs as a one-off, but I don't think Jordan Love going to have to do much to beat this sorry Cincinnati Bengals. But yeah, it's just about Josh Jacobs. I think he's like a very nice play this week. So that's game number 10. That's all of the games. A quick rundown of my thoughts and strategies for this week's slate. So this week, I'm running single entry, running one lineup. Going to try to hit big with one lineup. The two games that I'm focused on the most are Dallas and Carolina, San Francisco and Tampa Bay. In Carolina, I like the value in the matchup that they're in this week. Bryce Young, Rico Dowdle, and Tech McMillan. I like their prices, and I feel that the matchup versus a Dallas team who's ranked 32nd overall in total defense and 32nd overall in pass defense. The lineup that I posted in the Facebook group, that had Justin Fields, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson. The DraftKings lineup from last week that put up 188 points. So Dallas, they give it up. Yo, what's up, Jimmy? Appreciate you checking in, looking at the video. So yeah, I like Carolina. What was the other point that I wanted to make? The running back from Las Vegas, Genty, he's gonna be in my lineup. Oh, good, but think weather. Oh man, hey, that's a good point. That's a good point, Stefan. I haven't looked at any weather, and that's my fault right there. I'm gonna check it out. I just saw the total was 48, but if it's no rain or nothing, the game should be all right. But I'm gonna double check that. But continuing with the breakdown, Genty, he's gonna be in my lineup on both sides for sure. I just got a feeling that he's gonna show tomorrow why he was the number one pick. So Ashton Genty for sure. One of my favorite running back plays on the slate. Site specific. Christian McCaffrey for DK. I like him. Jonathan Taylor on FanDuel, site specific. Um, what else? Don't know how strong of a play it may be, but I personally feel that K. Otton is a good play at tight end because he always out on the field. And what's some other play? Those are my main points for this week. Dallas and Carolina, San Francisco, Tampa Bay. Those got the strongest plays. And let me not forget, pay attention to the all the injuries from Tampa Bay. That's just going to create more opportunity for Ibuka. Ibuka, the main guy. They missing 2 wide receivers. And yeah, I definitely am going to check that weather because that weather, I could think I have all these good plays, and if the weather bad and it's raining and all that other stuff, then it won't do nothing. So that's a good point. Thanks for pointing that out. And with that, that's going to be the end. I went through all 10 games, talked about what plays I like in each game. Talked about value plays, talked about injuries, and just kind of gave my reasons to why I liked certain plays. I haven't got the big win yet, but hopefully I get it this week. I think on DK, like the way the season been going, it's like you gotta get over 200 to win something nice. And last week I got 188, so I feel like I'm making some improvements. I will admit on FanDuel, I haven't been doing well. It's something that I'm missing. I got to figure out. I think the highest I've gotten this year is like around the maybe 140 mark. There's something I just got to figure out in my lineup construction, but I'm gonna keep grinding with it. But that's all I got. Any more questions before I sign out of here? Any more questions? I'm here to answer whatever y'all have for me. And I thank everyone who tuned in. Appreciate you, Stefan, Jimmy, who else, and Tony. Appreciate y'all, man. Be sure to join the Facebook group. Search the group on Facebook. Be the best DFS. Search the group on Facebook. All right, look like there's no more questions. So thank you again to everyone. We ready for week 6. I'm gonna try to. Oh wait, you got something? You said wait. Why you? I'm about to see if it's any weather real quick. Let me look at that. NFL weather, week 6. Just gonna do it while I'm on here. NFL weather, week 6. So according to this, slight chance of rain. 30%. Okay. Kickoff. Okay, yeah. Oh, they got some wind gusts. Oh, okay. Shit. They got some wind gusts in Carolina. So yeah, with that, I don't know. I might shift more over to Tampa Bay and San Francisco, or that Las Vegas and Tennessee game in terms of like players that I want in the passing game. Oh, defense. Yeah, team defense. On DraftKings, I like the approach of just punting that team defense and taking Miami. But if I'm not punting, I like the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts at home versus Arizona. 3,300 on DK. I think 4,200. I got the Colts defense on FanDuel, 4,200. Then I like the Raiders defense. So the Colts, the Raiders. If you want to punt, Miami, and I also like Jacksonville. I like what they did. I like how they looked versus Kansas City on Monday night, and I think going up against Sam Darnold of the Seahawks, Jacksonville, they could force some turnovers. So yeah, I like those defenses. But yeah, I'm about to sign out, man. Thank y'all again for tuning in and listening to me for this last hour, and hopefully we all do well tomorrow. And you know what the motto is? It's going down below on the ticker. Count the wins as blessings, losses teach lessons. And I will catch y'all next week. Good luck to everyone. All right.